Well, the thought of going to the emergency room is a scary prospect for most of us. It conjures up images of life-threatening situations or long waits. But as David Wiley reports, having a little knowledge ahead of time about your options can go a long way to getting the quickest and most appropriate treatment.
My Health, My Choice Wellness segment, brought to you by Choice Medical Group and Choice Physicians Network. With so many choices and options in medical care, when an illness or accident does occur, it may be difficult to know where to go. The emergency room or urgent care? There's no doubt illness or injury often comes suddenly and unexpectedly, and getting relief for the pain or discomfort is certainly important, but many emergency rooms are filled with patients who have symptoms that could easily be handled in an urgent care setting. So knowing ahead of time where to go for the appropriate treatment when something does happen can save both time and money. Urgent care centers like Meridian Urgent Care in Apple Valley may seem like a relatively new phenomenon, but in reality, the urgent care system has been around for nearly 40 years.
The urgent care movement started in the early 70s because emergency rooms became overcrowded, they became too expensive, and just too inefficient to deal with a lot of these, lower level or mid-level medical problems that could be treated in a setting like this. And so out of that necessity sprung the urgent care movement.
Now, with more than 8,000 urgent care centers across the country, the idea is twofold. First, to relieve pressure at hospital emergency rooms.
To relieve the congestion in the emergency room, and also to help primary care physicians who can't see their patients for routine medical care if they get something like an ear infection or a throat infection or, some minor problem that could be dealt with in an office or an ambulatory setting, but they just can't get in to see their primary care doctors.
So when the unexpected does happen, how do you know whether to go to the emergency room or urgent care? Well, in general, emergency rooms deal with injuries and illness that are life-threatening or need immediate care.
Someone who requires emergent care would be, a patient who is severely ill, has had some type of severe injury, is presenting with symptoms that could be indicators of severe illness, like severe crushing chest pain in the case of a heart attack, severe unrelenting abdominal pain, which could be internal bleeding or appendicitis or something along those lines, a major fracture, bleeding that's uncontrolled. These are all examples of emergencies that probably require the higher level of care that an emergency room would provide.
On the other hand, doctors and staff at an urgent care facility can easily handle most mid-level health issues.
These tend to be for, such things as colds, coughs, upper respiratory infections, sinusitis, ear infections, minor lacerations, minor fractures, and generally medical conditions that can be, treated simply with, medication or minor intervention and doesn't require the, intensity of a hospital setting.
Now remember, all these are guidelines to help you out. If there's ever a doubt of whether you should go to an urgent care or the emergency room, doctors say your best bet is to go to the hospital. For more information on urgent care versus emergency care or our panel of healthcare providers, please contact Choice Medical Group Member Services Department at 760-242-7777, extension 224. Bringing you the best of California, I'm David Wiley for California Life. Education, brought to you by the California Lottery. Remember, when you buy a lottery ticket, California schools win.
Studies show that suicide is now the third leading cause of death for American teenagers, and experts think bullying has a lot to do with it.
I'm the student who's scared every day.
I am the student who had nothing to say. I am the student with hurt in her eyes. I am the student you never saw cry. We are students that have feelings too. We are students just like you.
This video that highlights the pain caused by bullying was produced by a group of high school students called Ambassadors for Tolerance, Empathy, and Compassion.
I promise to stomp out bullying.
65 kids from 4 Palm Springs area high schools recently came together for a symposium on bullying. Luis Martinez has suffered years of abuse because he's gay.
I've gone through 4 suicide attempts, I've ran away from home 3 times. Just recently I got kicked out of my house.
He says hearing other kids' stories helps him cope.
It touched me because I know I'm not the only one suffering this bad.
Now Luis speaks with the ambassadors at assemblies for junior high and high school students.
And coming here makes me feel good about myself. I'm doing better in school. I stopped doing drugs, It's making me a better person. I feel better about myself by helping everybody else.
By them telling their stories, letting them know that kids can come talk to them about it, really helps the younger kids realize that they're not alone.
Too white, too black, too big, too smart. These kids say bullying affects everyone, and tolerance, empathy, and compassion are the answer.
Bullying isn't normal, and it shouldn't happen. So the feeling in the room was we need to do something, and we are.
These kids hope this type of program will be repeated across the state and across the nation. Bringing you the best of California from Palm Desert, I'm Suzanne Pajot.
And coming up next, she's barely 18, but she stole top internet honors from Lady Gaga and Megan Fox. And he's pulling in $20 million a year just to talk to you while you drive to work in the morning. Find out who and what we're talking about when we come back with entertainment.